So, New York Times story out this week. Mike Bloomberg, who's the former mayor of New York, of course, has outlined his plan to spend $50 million, a figure the New York Times describes as if he were describing the tip he left on a restaurant check.
Yeah, wow.
$50 million to build a nationwide grassroots movement to challenge the NRA, sort of a movement, a gun control movement that would rival the NRA. His Mayors Against the Illegal Gun Coalition and the advocacy group Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America, they announced their merger last year, and he is planning to invest heavily in those groups and spend the money that he thinks will be necessary to make a dent politically, because his target here is lawmakers. The same way that the NRA makes lawmakers pay when they vote against what the NRA wants, he wants to make lawmakers pay in much the same way for not supporting gun control. And $50 million is not, it's not NRA money, but it's not nothing.
Yeah, actually, in some ways, it's more than NRA money. So this is fascinating, because the NRA does a great job of intimidation, and what Bloomberg is saying is they also do a good job of field organizing and grassroots work, so that they actually get people to turn out and vote. So not all of their money is spent on ads. In fact, it's not even clear that a majority of their money is spent that way. So we've got to adopt their tactics. And Bloomberg said in the New York Times article, look, he says, if you are going to be in favor of any gun regulation, the NRA says that we're going to come for you, we're going to come for your kids, your grandkids, and your great-grandkids, and we're never going to let it go. So he says we have to do likewise. We have to have the grassroots movement, we have to have the field organizers, and we have to let politicians know that we will come after them if they vote against us. And if you tell me, the Democrats tell me, well, the Democrats are generally good and we're better off with them, but they're not very good on this issue, he's like, I don't care about that, because all I care about is this issue.
Yeah, let's take a look at that quote, because it's a great one. He says about the NRA, Bloomberg says, they say we don't care, we're going to go after you. If you don't vote with us, we're going after your kids, your grandkids, your great-grandkids. We're never going to stop. Go right to the next quote, because here's what he says now. But we've got to make them afraid of us the way that politicians are now afraid of the NRA.
So that's funny, because that sounds like Wolfpack.
It does. That's right. Yeah.
And but it's also ironic, because if you're a Republican out there, or you're conservative and you're pro-Second Amendment and you want your gun rights, well, look, Mayor Bloomberg disagrees with you, and he's got $50 million you don't have. If he spends that money in politics, he's far more likely to win. That's why he's doing it. He's not unsavvy. He's mayor of New York for a long time, knows a lot about politics, knows about how to spend money in politics. So if you don't want him to spend that money in politics, wolf-pack.com, okay? And that's how this works, is because if the Koch brothers can buy politicians, so can Bloomberg, and so can Soros.
Now, Barack Obama's made a number of efforts at bipartisanship during his 5 years in office that have been a giant waste of time, and they were nothing but PR moves and had no chance of success. Mike Bloomberg is sort of, in many ways, has worked hard to build the same sort of reputation. He's both a former Democrat and a former Republican. Mm-hmm. And he loves the idea that he's a big consensus builder, even though there are few people who are more part of the mainstream than Mike Bloomberg and more tied to Wall Street than Mike Bloomberg. But here's a case where visual bipartisanship, I think, plays a significant role, and Bloomberg should be commended for it. He has set up an advisory board for this effort, and it's got prominent Democratic and Republican figures. Among them, here's who's on the advisory board. Tom Ridge, former Republican governor of Pennsylvania. We have this graphic.
And head of the Department of Homeland Security.
And head of the Department of Homeland Security. Philanthropist Eli Broad. And remember, right, exactly, and Ridge was Homeland Security chief under George W. Bush. Warren Buffett, we all know Warren Buffett, the investor. And then Mike Mullen, who served as chairman of the Joint Chiefs under both Bush and Obama. Those people, the board will be bigger, but those four guys, the sort of most prominent people representing both parties on the board.
Well, he's doing something smart. He's telling the mainstream media, you better cover this, and give us a lot of free press, by the way, because I'm bringing some heavy artillery here, ironically, and look at all these incredibly esteemed people on my board, and I got $50 million. And so he is going to get a lot of coverage for this. And if you think about the money part of this, you know that in the last several years, the NRA has only spent $20 million. So here's Bloomberg saying, I got 50, and I don't know if you know this, but that's more than 20, okay? So he's at least going to, ironically again, there's a lot of ironies in this story, get into arms race with them. and say, okay, well, then I'm going to bleed you dry. You're going to have to spend more money in politics to intimidate them in the way that you used to fairly easily.
I hope it works, and it's and you're right. It is an impressive amount of money, and of course, nothing's to stop people from contributing more money to it. And I suspect that will happen. The NRA significantly would not comment on anything that happened today, but Larry Pratt, who will comment on anything having to do with gun. Larry Pratt's a crazy person that you've interviewed, Cenk, from Gun Owners of America. He said of Bloomberg, he's got money to waste, so I guess he's free to do so. But frankly, I think he's going to find out why his side keeps losing. Now, interestingly, also, we have a quote here from Shannon Watts. She's the founder of Moms Demand Action. We actually don't have a graphic on this. She talks about women and that this is an appeal to female voters because women go to the polls, they vote on abortion, they vote on jobs, they vote on health care, things that affect their families. And they say, Shannon Watts says, we want one of those things to be gun violence prevention. That's going to be a real effort of the money he spends to appeal to women. Now, I loved this article. This doesn't really pertain to the gun violence, but I thought it was a great way to end this piece, Cenk, about Bloomberg. So the New York Times says that Bloomberg was introspective as he spoke, seemed restless and wistful. He's coming up on his 50th college reunion. He's now 72 years old. And the last line, the last paragraph starts, but he senses he may not have as much time left as he would like. He has little doubt about what would await him on Judgment Day. And then he talks about his work on gun safety, obesity, and smoking. And here's what Bloomberg has to say, the final quote we have prepared. I'm telling you, says Bloomberg, if there is a God, when I get to heaven, I'm not stopping to be interviewed. I'm heading straight in. I've earned my place in heaven. It's not even close.
Oh, if there's a God and the Bible is true, he's got another thing coming to him. Okay, now I don't believe that the Bible is true, and I think Bloomberg is an incredibly complicated character. I agree with him on this issue, even though I would get money out of politics and stop him from spending this money. I don't agree with him on many issues, including how he crushed Occupy Wall Street and protected all the big banks that robbed the American people blind. I think that's where, who's it? Is it Gabriel at the gates? I don't know who's at the gates, but he might be like, hey, you know what? Let's just pause for a second here. Let me give you a yellow light on your way to heaven so I can ask a couple of questions.
No, he's not stopping to be interviewed.
I love the idea of like, but it gives you a sense of the ego.
Mike. Oh, shit, he just went right in.
I'm sorry, Almighty. He just barged in. There's nothing we can do now because he's already in heaven.
So, yeah.
I like the way he thinks he's going to boss God around.
I know. I like it. I do. He'd run heaven efficiently. It's not even close. I thought you were going for when the Bible lived it. I was like, isn't there something about humility?
Well, I mean, there's something about humility. In the Bible, it says a camel can pass through the eye of a needle easier than a rich man can get into heaven.
Yeah, well.
But this guy's like, no, you don't understand how I spent my money, okay, on political causes that I think are really worthwhile. So I'm not having a conversation, God, okay? And by the way, the other issue is if there is a Christian God.
Yeah. That's a whole other problem.
Whole other problem.
But I do.
Among many problems.
But I know you do too. Like the overall sentiment, it's hard not to like that. Yeah, the confidence.
I mean, the confidence. Yeah, I mean, he's going to pick up so many girls he doesn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
My final 2 points on this are: moms demand action for gun sense is one of the worst named groups of all time.
It is. It's not a great.
It's the clunkiest thing I've ever heard.
Not a great one.
It doesn't spell out anything. It's moms demand action for gun sense. Luckily now that's being merged, so it's okay. And finally, Larry Pratt, when he says he's going to find out, Bloomberg is, why his side keeps losing on guns. No. Larry Pratt, you're going to find out how American politics actually works, okay? You're going to find out why your side usually keeps winning. It's because you have more money than the other side. Now, when Bloomberg comes in and all of a sudden the other side has more money, buckle up, because I suspect that you're going to eventually, not immediately, you're going to start losing all over the country, and you're going to be perplexed. I thought the American people were for guns, and we believed the Second Amendment. It was part of our tradition. What happened? What happened is money runs politics. So you're going to be shocked at how much you lose when he outspends you.